Hey guys, welcome back. I have another quick pickups video for you all this week. Before I jump into that, I just want to say thank you to everyone on Twitter and YouTube for showing me such support lately. I've actually been trying to get back into making YouTube videos again, and I'll hopefully be live streaming in the near future. So I just want to say thanks to all of you who have been encouraging me to make these videos again and also make videos of my pickups, and I'll possibly be doing some gaming beautician videos on YouTube since you all seem to enjoy those and have asked a few questions on how I actually restore stuff. So rather than just keep posting pictures, I've considered making videos on how I do that. So thanks to all of you out there for the encouragement, and you'll be seeing a lot of my future content back on YouTube. Alright, so let's start with the first pickup of the week. I visited my friend's store here in Tucson. It's a great place called Retro Toys and More. I've known the owner for years, and he always has a killer lineup of action figures, video games, board games, you name it. He has some of the best stuff out there, and then he also has some of the best prices. So if you're in Tucson, I highly recommend you check them out. Again, they're called Retro Toys and More. He actually had brought in some new items that night. One of them he brought in that he hadn't priced yet was this copy of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the 3DO. I looked at that and I said, you know what, I have to have this because I don't have many 3DO games and I sure as hell don't have this one. And for the price that I got it at, I mean, I couldn't pass this up. This disc is flawless. There's no stains, there's no scratches, nothing. And the booklet, which is usually the one thing that's either missing or damaged more than anything else, is flawless. So he gave me a really fair deal on this. He said that he doesn't remember if he has the long box it comes in, but if he does find it, he'll let me know, and I'll make an offer on that too to make this more complete. So yesterday, I went to Zia Records and to Bookman's again. Only this time, I was joined by fellow YouTuber and really cool guy, Nerdy Nick. If you haven't checked out his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or his YouTube channel, you can find him at nerdynick_91. Really, really cool guy. Does a lot of awesome retro reviews. He covers conventions. He's been streaming on YouTube. So definitely check out his content if you are an 80s, 90s kid and you love that nostalgia. So the first place we hit up was Zia. Now it looked like their whole video game section had been picked clean. I don't know if it's because the product has been moving a lot faster or there's more retro collectors out here, but the shelves were starting to look a little bit bare compared to last week. So we really didn't come across any cool gaming stuff, but I did come across a J-horror movie that I was looking for years, and that's this one here called Audition. If you like suspense thrillers, psychological thriller movies, this is definitely one I recommend. It does have a pretty slow pace, but once it picks up, it really, really gets going, and it messes with your head. So you'll definitely want to pay close attention to this one. Long story short, it's about a widower whose son encourages him to start dating and meeting women again. And he works for, I believe it's a film company, possibly a TV station. He and his friend, they stage fake audition calls. And what he does is they turn it into a form of speed dating where he kind of weeds out the women he likes and doesn't like. He comes across one that he instantly is infatuated with, and she's this very quiet, sweet woman. She's very drawn to him as well. They start dating. She figures out that there might be something going on with this whole process, and at the same time, he starts to uncover a lot about her darker past, and it just becomes this complete mind game. It's a really good movie. It's based off of a book of the same name. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, I recommend this film, and I also have some other recommendations for some good J-horror as well. What's cool about this company is they're going to be re-releasing a lot of classic 80s sci-fi and horror movies. This is one of the catalogs they have here. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in that well, but some of the titles that I've seen already is This Blu-ray HD remake, or not remake, re-imaging of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm going to try to pick that up while it's on sale because I love that movie. We've got the original Crazies right there. I've seen this one too, Microwave Massacre. That's just an over-the-top film. We've all seen Waterworld. Why that's grouped in here, I have no idea. But there's going to be quite a few films that they're going to be re-releasing. So if you like any of those, be sure to keep an eye out for them. Also at Zia, they were doing a promotion where if you buy one of the films that Arrow Video just re-released, you get a collectible pin. I don't know if this is the only one they have, but it is one from the film Basket Case, which I am a fan of. True 80s cheese with this film if you haven't seen it yet. Long story short, it's about a young guy who's carrying around a wicker basket. He checks into a hotel one night, and everybody in the hotel is trying to figure out what's in this basket and why he refuses to be separated from it. It's got a good mix of 80s blood splatters and horror effects and some stop motion, which really is hilarious to look at, but overall, it's a great cheesy film, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it. So while we were at Bookman's, again, we really didn't come across many rare or many, I'll even say good games from the last time that I was there. There's still a few things I'm looking at, but I'm waiting for prices to drop on them. Speaking of which, I did pick up this Tiger version of Marble Madness. I had seen this before in and out of the store quite a bit. This was dropped recently from about $20, I believe the first sticker was, and then they dropped it all the way down to $5. So I just decided, you know what, I don't have this in the collection, and although I'm not the biggest Marble Madness fan, I mean, it's still a pretty good Tiger game. I don't know if you can see, the screen is pretty flawless. There's no scratches in them like most Tiger games have. It will need a cleaning. There's some encrusted dirt and some smudges and stains on here, but you all know that's what I do. So look forward to that on my Twitter with hashtag GamingBeautition. If you all don't know that by now, that's where I do all my restoration stuff. So it actually works, and has the annoying music that most Tiger games do have. Unfortunately, I have the worst luck when it comes to this game because I don't know if it's just me or if it's the fact that Marble Madness really is just that difficult. I'm not too big of a fan, like I said. This game makes me hate it even more, but that's kind of unfair because it is a Tiger game, and we all know Tigers weren't the best, but definitely killed our boredom when we didn't have a Game Boy with us. So maybe when I practice it a bit more, I'll probably be better at it, but it's one of the Tiger games that I'm just not a fan of, but it's nice to have in the collection. And that's enough of that. If you actually want to see what I have in my Tiger collection, be sure to comment and let me know, and maybe I'll make a video on that. I've got a good mix of some childhood ones that I've saved over the years and some ones that I've found out in the wild. So if you're a fan of Tiger games and you'd like to see that, let me know and maybe I'll make a video. These are technically mine, but I haven't really paid for them. These are actually my girlfriend's sister's games. She was looking to sell them, and I don't have the black box variants for these, and I offered her a fair deal, so we're gonna work out that arrangement, and hopefully she'll come across more either Final Fantasy titles or some more video games that she wants to sell. Because I definitely don't have these, and if she has more of the Final Fantasies that I need, I'll definitely pick those up, and you'll see those in another video. The cases are gonna need some cleaning, of course, but that's the only thing I can say about them. The discs are fine, the manuals are all there, and I offered what I felt was a good deal on both of these. I'm really shocked that the price on Final Fantasy games has gone down, but I'm guessing that has a lot to do with the remake. So she seems cool with it, and if, like I said, if there's any more in the future she wants to sell, I'll definitely look into that, and maybe you'll see those in another video. So, probably what was the biggest letdown of the day was earlier in the morning. I contacted a seller on OfferUp, and he had a lot of NES games. Some I don't need, some I did. The biggest draw to the lot was he had an NES copy of Die Hard, and if you know anything about pricing lately, that game has actually moved up a lot in price. It's a game that I maybe saw once or twice out in the wild. I'm not a fan of it, but I did need it for the collection. And so I had messaged him, and the ad was up for about maybe 2 weeks at this point. And so I gave him a fair offer. He was interested, and then we met up to do the transaction. Sadly, it was not included. And when I told him, hey, there's only 6 games here, he kind of stalled and gave me this story that, oh, he sold it weeks ago and he thought he deleted that. He thought he had fixed the ad and whatnot. And he just was like, yeah, that's all I have left. So discrepancies aside, and little moments that I saw when we were talking about the sale, I kind of didn't believe him. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Feel free to share that if you'd like to. I just felt like maybe he wised up and sold that. Maybe somebody did buy that a while ago and he hadn't changed the ad. But that's kind of the downside when you buy lots online, is that sellers don't always fix everything the way that they should. So I don't know who he sold it to or what the real truth is on that. I feel like he probably sold it that day before meeting up with me, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, turning that frown upside down, I still got some good games for what I paid. I did get a majority of these dirt cheap, so I'm not too disappointed in the lot because I do need some of these, but I really wish that Die Hard had been included because that would have been a huge chunk of a discount that I would have had if I had been able to get it. Anyway, first up is the Disney's Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. I have this game boxed and complete already, so this is something you might see for sale or trade on my Twitter page. I'm going to start posting a lot of what I restore there to kind of help all you collectors who aren't able to find these in your areas. So this is one that'll definitely be on the list because I do have it already. It's not a bad Disney Capcom game, though. If you like exploring Disneyland and that sort of thing, figuring out puzzles, it's got some good side-scrolling and some driving stages. This is actually not a bad Capcom Disney game. It's not in my top 3, but it's also not the bottom tier either. So recommend this one if you haven't played it yet. And it's really cheap too. Dirty Harry. I saw this as a kid years ago when my mom was working at Dillard's and I used to go hang out in their electronics department. I loved the movies growing up. We used to watch these with my grandfather all the time because he loved Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson, all of those hot shot, big explosive movies. He loved them all. And so I thought this was going to be a really awesome game. And plus, if you can see, no LJN. It's not bad. It could have been better. It's better than most movie license games out there, I can tell you that. But it's one that I really still can't recommend. It's cool for what it is and for what it's based off of. But it's definitely not going to be on my top 10 anytime soon. Now, if you want a bore fest, definitely play Defenders of the Crown because this game, I love the Renaissance. I love the medieval time period. I love jousting. I love all that kind of stuff. But this game is just ridiculously slow. And It really doesn't offer much in terms of competition. It's kind of like caveman games, but with medieval settings and items and locations. It's still pretty cheap. I did need it for the collection. Again, though, it's not going to be on my top 10 list anytime soon. I'll definitely put Dirty Harry above this one, though. Mickey Mouse Capade. This was the first Disney Capcom game I had played, and also the first one I owned. I used to play this with my cousin and my uncle back in the day, and although we weren't the biggest Mickey Mouse fans, we did get some enjoyment out of this game. It's better when it's two-player, but nowadays for me it just gets really boring, and it is kind of slow for me. I find myself getting bored of it within like 10, maybe 15 minutes. I've beaten the game, and maybe that's why I'm not enthusiastic about it anymore. It's not bad, but I definitely would put Adventures in the Magic Kingdom above this one. And it's also cheap, so if you haven't played it yet and you don't own it, definitely pick yourself up a copy. I am a big fan of the Platoon movie. So as a kid, when I had heard this was coming out, I thought this was going to be another game that was probably going to be just as good as the movie, or maybe even better. It's a game that I could recommend, but I won't be eager to throw that out there because it has a lot of elements in it that most people aren't fans of. Most people I know who have played this all have said it's difficult. It's either too short or too long, which I can agree with it being too long because some of the levels do get dragged out quite a bit. But it's got some really cool gameplay features in it. It's side-scrolling, it's puzzle solving. There's a first-person gunrail type setup when you go through the caves, which is pretty cool. It's not directly based off the movie, it just has elements from it in there, but it's not a bad game, and it's one of the games based off of a movie franchise that I would recommend. So definitely check this one out because it's also still pretty cheap. And then the last game I needed for collection was Space Shuttle Project. I had seen this when I was at my mom's store, and during my I want to be an astronaut phase, I thought this was going to be a game that would blow my mind and maybe even help prepare me to be an astronaut. It's been so long since I've seen this, so I don't really have fond memories of it. I just remember being hooked as a kid when they had this on their display shelf and when I was able to demo this game. So it's nice to have this back in the collection. It's pretty good as far as the label is concerned. And it's also a game that's starting to go up in price a little bit. So for what I paid for it, not a bad find. All right, so that is my pickups for the week. Again, I want to thank you all for watching and for showing me the support you all have been doing on Twitter and on my YouTube channel. And again, special thanks to Nerdy Nick for joining me in inviting me to the game hunting that we were doing this weekend. So again, if you haven't checked him out, be sure to do so. And stay subscribed to my channel and to my Twitter, and I'll let you know about all upcoming future projects, sorry. So thanks again for watching. Y'all take care.